More than 70 people ringed the roundabout in Manchester on Saturday, June 11th, taking part in a nationwide series of protest marches and demonstrations, and raising their voices against the surge in gun violence over the past month, as well as all the previous mass shooting events, from Columbine, Sandy Hook, and Parkland, Florida.
And I think our words are powerful, so we're going to say it together. No more silence and gun violence. No
more silence and gun violence. No more silence and gun violence.
Across the nation, hundreds of other marches and demonstrations took place, with the largest being held in Washington, D.C. The only other demonstration held in Vermont was in Montpelier. The March for Our Lives movement, which got its start after the shootings at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida in 2018, returned to the front lines of the push to restrict access to military-style assault rifles, as well as improving background checks and so-called red flag laws to intercept would-be mass murderers before they can get their hands on weapons of deadly force. Shortly before the noontime rally got started, we had a chance to speak with Dana Zazinski, a local organizer of the demonstration in Manchester.
Something that we discovered in March for Our Lives is we have a national protest happening today in Washington, D.C., and there are hundreds of satellite marches happening throughout the United States, but about a dozen protests aren't happening today because local organizers were threatened. They received death threats, they were harassed on social media, and to protect their own lives, they felt that they couldn't continue having a local march, which in and of itself is such a tragedy because the message is so misunderstood. All we want is to get people at the table. We can't be divisive about this anymore. Nobody is for dead kids. Nobody is for massacres. And people who are for guns and people who are against guns, we all need to get together and say something needs to stop. That's our message. Let's start listening to each other and let's start talking. We are not saying ban this. Our platform at March for Our Lives is not to ban this or do this. We're saying we need to get together and we need to compromise and we need to talk.
Other people we spoke with echoed the call that enough was enough.
I'm a former teacher, and I'm a parent and a grandparent, and I'm outraged that we have to live this way. There's no reason in a civilized country why kids should be afraid to go to school. That's why I'm here.
I probably can't improve on silence after that. I'm not an ex-teacher, but I am a father and grandfather of 13, and it's terrifying, and they shouldn't be. And there isn't any reason for it. It's a lack of courage on the part of our elected leadership at all levels in both parties, in my opinion.
The demonstration lasted for about an hour. Many motorists passing through the roundabout honked their horns in support, and others didn't, and a few indicated they didn't share the protesters' viewpoint. Recent mass shootings in Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas, have breathed new life into those who would like to see more barriers to, if not an outright ban, on the availability of assault rifles obtained by members of the general public. But this complex issue is one that has defied easy solution to date, and has emerged, again, as a divisive issue that pits many people into opposing camps. Local state representatives Seth Bongartz and Kathleen James were also present at the rally, and we spoke with them shortly after it ended.
It was great. It's time we start pushing back, and gun violence in this country is out of control. We have to do something about it.
Yep, and I think Vermonters understand that there are a lot of common sense steps that we can take here in Vermont to strengthen some of the laws that we have on the book, to help make our schools safer, to help make kids safer, to help keep Vermonters safer. Here in Vermont, we have a problem with gun violence. Most of it has to do with suicide, which is really tragic. And so Seth and I are already talking with a lot of legislative leaders up in Montpelier to take a look and see what legislation we can bring forward in January 2023 if we're lucky enough to be reelected.
Whether these recent shootings and the outpouring of anger seen Saturday through the marches held across the country will result in some sort of legislative action by the U.S. Congress remains to be seen. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.